Why you feel emotionally exhausted even when nothing is technically wrong. The contradictory reality. Have you ever reached the end of the day feeling completely drained, yet unable to explain why? Nothing terrible happened. No major crisis appeared. Nobody betrayed you. No disaster struck. Yet somehow your mind feels heavy, your motivation disappears, and even simple tasks seem overwhelming. The truth is that emotional exhaustion doesn't always come from carrying too much pain. Sometimes it comes from carrying too much tension. The pattern interrupt. We've been taught to look for dramatic causes behind our burnout. But what if your exhaustion isn't being caused by one major problem? What if it's the accumulation of hundreds of tiny psychological burdens that never fully leave your system? The unanswered messages, the postponed decisions, the constant notifications, the conversations you keep replaying, the expectations you keep trying to meet. The hidden truth. Most people are not collapsing under the weight of a single mountain. They are drowning under thousands of invisible pebbles. Today we're uncovering why your emotional battery feels permanently low and how to reclaim energy you didn't even realize was being drained. Many people believe exhaustion is purely physical. If you're tired, you need sleep. If you're burned out, you need a vacation. If you're stressed, you need a break. While those things can help, they don't always address the deeper issue. Because emotional exhaustion operates differently. The body can rest while the mind continues working. You can sleep for 8 hours and still wake up mentally fatigued. You can take a day off and still feel overwhelmed. You can sit in silence and still feel exhausted. This happens because emotional energy is consumed differently than physical energy. Your mind is constantly processing information, evaluating risks, predicting outcomes, managing relationships, monitoring expectations, solving problems, preparing for future challenges. Most of this happens automatically. You don't consciously choose it. Your brain simply continues running these processes in the background, like dozens of applications running on a device. Each one consumes a small amount of power. Individually, they seem insignificant. Together, they drain the battery. This is one reason modern life feels uniquely exhausting. The human nervous system was never designed to process endless streams of information. Yet many people spend their days moving between messages, emails, videos, news updates, social feeds, work responsibilities, family obligations, and personal concerns without any meaningful recovery period. The mind remains constantly activated, even during moments of rest. This creates what psychologists sometimes call cognitive overload. The brain becomes saturated, not because of one large problem, but because of constant stimulation. Many people mistake this state for laziness. They wonder why they can't focus, why they lack motivation, why everything feels difficult. But exhaustion often disguises itself as a lack of discipline. When the mind becomes overloaded, even simple decisions require effort. Choosing dinner feels overwhelming. Responding to a text feels exhausting. Making plans feels stressful. Not because the tasks are difficult, but because the system processing them is depleted. Another hidden source of emotional exhaustion is emotional suppression. Many people spend enormous amounts of energy trying not to feel what they feel. They push down disappointment, ignore frustration, minimize sadness, dismiss loneliness, hide anxiety, maintain composure, keep functioning. From the outside, they appear fine. Inside, they are carrying emotional weight that has nowhere to go. Suppressing emotions requires energy, a great deal of it. The nervous system must constantly monitor those feelings to keep them below the surface. This creates a subtle but continuous drain. Eventually, the person feels exhausted without understanding why. The issue is not weakness. The issue is emotional labor. Then there is the burden of unfinished mental loops. the conversation you wish had gone differently, the decision you keep postponing, the uncertainty you keep revisiting, the future scenario you keep rehearsing, the conflict you haven't addressed. These open loops quietly consume attention, even when you're not actively thinking about them. The brain periodically checks them, revisits them, analyzes them, attempts to resolve them. This repeated processing creates fatigue over time. One of the most overlooked causes of emotional exhaustion is living in a constant state of anticipation, waiting for the next problem, preparing for the next disappointment, expecting the next challenge. Many people have become so accustomed to stress that calm feels unfamiliar. Instead of resting during peaceful seasons, they remain vigilant, scanning for danger, monitoring for threats, preparing for what might go wrong. The nervous system never fully relaxes. This creates chronic tension, and chronic tension eventually becomes exhaustion. The solution is not necessarily doing less. Often it begins with carrying less mental clutter, less unnecessary responsibility, less emotional suppression, less pressure to be everything for everyone, less attachment to things you cannot control. True recovery starts when you stop treating every thought as a problem that needs solving. Not every uncertainty requires analysis. Not every feeling requires fixing. Not every challenge requires immediate action. Sometimes the mind needs permission to simply exist, to pause, to process, to breathe, to recover. Many people are desperately seeking motivation when what they actually need is restoration. Motivation is difficult to access when the emotional system is depleted. Energy returns when recovery becomes intentional. This means creating moments of genuine mental rest, not distraction, not scrolling, not consuming more information. Actual rest, moments where the brain is not performing, not producing, not comparing, not preparing, just being present. Beloved, if you feel emotionally exhausted, it does not automatically mean something is wrong with you. It may simply mean your mind has been carrying more than it was designed to carry alone. The goal is not to become stronger by endlessly enduring more pressure. The goal is to become wiser about what deserves your energy. Protect your attention. Honor your limits. Release what is not yours to carry. Because healing does not always begin by adding something new to your life. Sometimes it begins by finally putting something down.